Greetings, it is I, Dracovin, Lord and Emperor of the Dracovin Empire. Welcome. It's time to continue our talk on Pathfinder. Today I'm going to bring in a couple more things. I'm going to continue talking about combat modifiers, but I'm also going to talk about some special actions you can take in combat. So let's finish our talk on combat modifiers. The next one to talk about is flanking. Now what flanking means is that I'm positioning myself to attack an enemy in melee that I have an ally or a creature that's fighting that opponent that's opposite the side of me. That's a basic way of saying it. It's like if there's a creature in the middle, then I either have an ally or another creature fighting my same opponent going against the same one on the opposite side. We're flanking it. We're on either opposite side. So that's what it is. It's either opposite of the face of the opponent's square or diagonal from their corners if we're that way too. Now, so you have to basically draw a line across it from your square to the person you're flanking with square. You have to be able to draw this imaginary line basically from your center to their center. And if it goes across the thing, if it goes completely across the opponent's square, then it's flanking. You know, you're not clipping it. Like, that's why you have to go from corner to corner if you're diagonal, or from side to side. Now, a larger creature that's flanking, they can use multiple of their squares. They can use any of their squares when they're doing this, meaning if I'm a large creature trying to flank with a medium creature against another medium creature, I could use any of my squares with the term flanking. On the other hand, a larger creature is sometimes easier to flank with because they have very large sides that you can draw across, you know? Now what flanking effectively does is it gives you +2 to melee attacks when you're flanking with someone. Now the only other thing is you have to have some kind of reach to flank. If you have a reach of 0, you can't flank. You also have to be threatening to flank. That's another thing. It's like if I'm not threatening someone, the possibility of giving an attack of opportunity if they move, I can't flank with them. And that's the reason why reach 0, because they don't threaten, doesn't flank. You know, if I can't threaten, I can't flank. Now let's talk about helpless opponents. You're helpless when you're bound, you're unconscious, you're sleeping, you're paralyzed. You're in some way made to be helpless. At this point in time, someone can either attack you or coup de grace. If they attack you, you get an automatic -4 to your AC, and then your dex is considered 0. So think of it this way. I get -4 to my AC, my dex is considered 0, and I am technically flat-footed also. Now that -4 to AC is against melee attacks, and only melee attacks. I don't get that against ranged attacks. So if I'm shooting someone that's unconscious, then I'm not getting that additional, like, sort of bonus to hit them. While if I'm meleeing them up close, they get an additional -4 to their AC. So, other than being flat-footed, the opponent that I'm firing at has -9 against my attacks to their AC if it's melee, or -5 if it's ranged. And again, this is after we've made them flat-footed. Now, coup de grace is the other option I can do against helpless opponents rather than just attacking them. It is a full round action, meaning I have to take a full round, and it's an automatic hit that does automatic critical damage. Now, should it survive the damage I've just dealt it, whatever creature I'm fighting, it must make a fort save, DC 10, plus the damage dealt, or die. Meaning, if it survives the critical damage, it also still has a large chance of dying from just the coup de grace itself, from the fort save. That'll be very difficult to make. Now, in order to coup de grace, I have to be using a melee weapon, or if I'm adjacent to them, I can coup de grace with a bow or a crossbow, meaning I can be like right up next to them and bow them in the head, or I would have to be up next to them with a sword and sword them in the head. Now, a coup de grace does provoke an attack of opportunity. So if I go up next to someone that's paralyzed and I'm about to stab them, their friend can attack of opportunity to try to interrupt me, or to make it seem like I don't want to do that, because attacks of opportunity, you don't always want to just incur them. Now, a rogue, or someone that has similar bonus precision damage, will get it against someone they're coup de grace. So if I'm a rogue and I'm coup de grace someone, I would include my sneak attack damage to see if I kill them in the first place, and I would include that in to the fort save or die. Now, you can't coup de grace against something that's immune to critical hits. So if something says it's immune to critical hits, it's immune to coup de grace. The other thing is you can coup de grace against something that has total concealment. It takes you 2 full round actions, because you have to use the first one to sort of locate where the thing is, and the second one to run it through. So let's talk about special actions in combat. So the first one I want to talk about is aid another. When I take an aid another action, I effectively am helping a friend, or in combat, by giving a bonuses to attacking an opponent, or I can distract the opponent, or I can basically, you know, like give it. They have some bonuses to defend. You know, I'm aiding another in combat. Now, when I use an aid another, I have to be within melee distance of the opponent that both of us are fighting, and my friend has to be within melee distance of the person that they're either getting the bonus to attack with or defense with. And what it is I have to make an attack roll against AC 10. If I'm successful, I grant a +2 to that my friend's next attack, or +2 AC against the next attack that the opponent we're both fighting will use against my friend. And this bonus only applies until the beginning of my next turn. So as soon as my next turn comes around, if nothing happened either way, then the bonus is lost. Now, multiple people can aid another. So if, let's say, like, we're fighting a creature with a ridiculous AC, it's really hard to hit, there's 4 of us fighting it in melee combat, 3 of us could use aid another to give that last one +6 to their attack, effectively making it maybe that it's very easy for them to hit this opponent, which maybe we don't have to hit them a lot. It's sort of like that, is we can use multiple people using the aid another action to affect the same sort of attack or defend. There are other ways you can use the aid another. You can use the aid another to help a friend that's affected by a spell, or to give bonuses to skill checks. These are other options for the aid another action. Now, after aiding another, we want to talk about charging. Charging is a full round action. On part of your charge, you can move up to twice your speed and then make an attack at the end of it. Now, this means you have to move your whatever distance you're going to move before you attack. Because charging does have a few restrictions, and that's the first one, is you have to make your movement, then attack. Now, there are, as I said, there are other restrictions. You have to move at least 10 feet to make a charge. It means at least 2 squares of movement have to be made to charge. It has to be directly to that opponent. So the closest, straightest line to that, and it has to be in a straight line. It has to be unobstructed. You can't move through the space of any other creatures, friend or enemy, and you can't move through any obstacles. Meaning, it can't be the difficult terrain during that charge. I'd have to charge, straight line, nothing obstructing me, directly to that opponent, at least 10 feet. If I charge my speed or less, I can also draw a weapon as part of that charge. But I at least need a base attack bonus of +1, which means if I have a base attack +1, I can draw a sword as part of a charge, but I can only move up to my speed as that charge. After that, I can still keep charging, I just couldn't have drawn a weapon. So because it has this like sort of straight line, you do need line of sight to charge. Meaning if someone is like out of sight or totally concealed, I can't charge them because I don't know they're there. Now, when you're doing a charge on a turn, you can't make a 5-foot step. Charging counts as your movement on a turn. That would negate the ability to make a 5-foot step. Now, if you're only restricted to being able to do a standard action on your turn, if you're not able to do full round actions, you can still charge. But you are restricted to only making your movement. Meaning rather than twice your movement, you can only make your movement. And you can't draw a weapon as part of it unless you would have quick draw. Now when you're charging, you get +2 to the attack you're doing at the end of the charge, but you get -2 to your AC until the beginning of your next turn. So you've sort of given a penalty to yourself, but you get this bonus to attack when you're charging in. Now when charging, you are also allowed to make a bull rush, which I will talk about in another episode. But when you make a bull rush, you get a +2 when charging. So again, this is going to be something I'm going to talk about next week. But until then, just know that you're going to get this bonus. And there are 2 other things I want to mention when talking about charging. If you're charging while mounted and using a lance, you automatically do double damage. Also, if you're using a weapon with the brace ability, usually it's some kind of pole arm, and you use the brace type action, which means I ready an action for someone to come in, charge in at me, I do double damage to that charger. So it means I have to set myself up to attack the guy that's charging in at me, but I then would do double damage with a brace weapon. So that's it for today. I talked about a couple more things. I finished up talking about flanking, talking about helpless foes, and then I moved into talking about special actions and included charging and aiding another. So if you have any questions, comments, anything you want to say, anything you think I left out, please leave in the comments below. Please like this video. Shows your support for the channel, the Empire. Shows that you like the work I do. Please subscribe. We're always looking for more members, more citizens. And please share this video. If you know anyone that would learn anything from it, or just enjoy watching it, please share it with them. And until the next time, I bid you farewell.